Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 48 of Just Lying Around, a Detroit Lions podcast presented by the World of Football. I'm your host, Kyle Sutherland, and I'm joined by my co host and brother in law, Adam Snow. Adam, we're here, but I can't say the same thing about Matt Eberflus being on the Chicago Bears anymore because that's what happens when you play the Lions. You either get beat real bad or you get fired.
Look, we all kind of figured Eberflus has been on the hot seat. The Bears have played 3 games against division opponents, and they played them all very well. It's just come down to a fluky blocked field goal and 2 just poorly mismanaged end of game situations for the Bears. So, look, the Bears, as much as crap as we give our Bears coworkers, Bears weren't terrible. But I've been saying since last year, Eberflus gonna Eberflus, and Eberflus totally Eberflus that game away yesterday.
And you know what's even worse? Eberflus hired the offensive coordinator 2.5 weeks ago, and now that offensive coordinator is now their interim head coach. So that ought to go well with them.
Well, he wasn't hired; he was elevated because he was a passing game coordinator, right? And just kind of 1 week you're the passing game coordinator, the next you're now the head coach of the football team. It's a quick world we live in the NFL. Just move right on up.
Yeah. Play for the Bears.
All right, we'll get into the Bears side of things too. Hey, we're a Lions show. We spent the first 2 minutes talking Bears. Let's move on.
Okay, I suppose we shall. On today's show, we're going to go over the Lions' Week 13 win against the Chicago Bears on Thanksgiving, and look ahead at Week 14 against the Green Bay Packers on Thursday Night Football. So we had the Lions 23, Bears 20. Lions, I think, like 3.5 quarters, they were pretty solid there. And then the fourth quarter, I don't know what their plans are, but they didn't seem to get anything rolling there. For the Bears side, first 2 quarters, shut them down. And then third and fourth quarter, I don't know if it was just short possessions by the offensive side of the Lions. They kind of hindered the Lions defensive side, or if the people getting hurt on the Lions side didn't help either. But the Bears clawed their way back, almost made it a tied game at the end there, but they screwed up and lost the game, and the Lions finally win a Thanksgiving game in 8 years. So, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll take it. We haven't won a game in 8 years, 7 years, whatever it's been. We'll take it however we can get it, I guess. To say that the Lions deserve to win this game is hard to say. The Bears probably should have took it, but they Eberflused it. But I mean, the Lions in that first half, look, they held the Bears to no points. So that was what, 8 consecutive quarters now, or 10 consecutive quarters. They, hadn't allowed a team to score a touchdown on them. So, but the Bears came back in the second half. I don't know what changed for Detroit, other than it seems like maybe they played a little too conservative. There was some really weird short yardage plays they called where it's like, okay, I get that you guys are a run up the middle team, but that's what they know you're about to do in this situation. You got speed, guys. Why are we not going around to the outside? I feel like it would have extended some drives. Like you said, I think the second half was more short possessions, which kind of contributed to the Bears kind of clawing their way back. And yes, the injuries on defense did not help. I don't know what our scheme was. We couldn't stop Caleb. Every time we had our hands on him a couple times, and he's just was sneaky enough to get out of it and make some like really good throws along the sideline. But I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of penalties on both sides, so I'm not going to say penalties or what cost either team anything, but there were definitely a couple of holding calls. I was like, they're not calling that. I'm sure Bears fans will say the same thing about on the Lions side of things. So I don't know. It's definitely some stuff to be tightened up, and maybe this is the kind of thing you want as Dan Campbell, where you still get the win, but you don't feel great. You got enough, to go into the next week against a rival and hopefully drill home with the guys, and they play better. But defense is very banged up.
Yes, it is. So before we talk about all that stuff, let's jump into some stats here. Jared Goff, 21 of 34 for 221 yards and 2 touchdowns. David Montgomery, 21 carries, 88 yards, 4.2 average with 3 receptions for 36 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, 9 carries, 87 yards for 9.7 average, 2 receptions for 17 yards. He did have a fumble there, which didn't help. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 5 receptions for 73 yards. And Tim Patrick came out of nowhere from last year. I think he's just getting more comfortable here. He did have 2 receptions for 48 yards. I thought he had 1 or 2 more. I thought the stat line was a little better than this, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, he made a couple of big catches though. The 48 yards, I think each catch was like 20 yards apiece. But they were in big situations, and he's a guy I'm surprised the Lions don't try to find more. Like, yeah, you got your Amon-Ra and your backs to dump it off to, and you got Jamison Williams, and I'm surprised Patrick doesn't get more involved in the offense, especially after Jamison seemingly got benched towards the end of the game because they had Allen Robinson in there, but I didn't see much of Tim Patrick getting involved. So I don't know. But I like Tim Patrick. I'm still waiting for him to get his first touchdown. He's one of those guys who kind of been filling in that role of that Josh Reynolds we had last year. I've been liking him a lot. He seems like he's been a good fit.
yeah, they did throw it in the end zone to him once, but it was a little too high for him to catch there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Goff, they are trying to get him a touchdown there. Bears side, Caleb Williams, 20 of 39 for 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 carries, and 39 yards. DeAndre Swift, 11 carries for 39 yards, 3.5 average per carry, 2 receptions for 35 yards. And DJ Moore, 8 receptions for 97 yards and 1 touchdown. If you did note, before or after the second quarter, I think the Bears had 56 yards total on their offensive side. So a lot of these yards were after the half, which they kind of lit up the Lions' defensive side there.
And one guy you
So
didn't mention there for the Bears, though, that I'd like to throw out there, Keenan Allen had 5 catches for 73 yards and a pair of touchdowns.
yeah,
A couple bad touchdowns. I mean, if you're a Lions defender, how you not make a tackle? He kind of just like easily got in the end zone. He did make a really nice like juke move, kind of shook the defender off and was just able to catch it and run up the middle there for a touchdown. That first catch, I want to say, but they made it too easy there in the second half for those Bears receivers. So I don't know, especially after going a couple of games without allowing a touchdown. It stinks to have 3 thrown on you in the second half.
yeah. Keenan Allen's he's a veteran, but cornerback depth again for the Lions didn't look too good. We had Davison out, but we did have Terrion Arnold back in.
Who played
Vildor,
pretty great, by the way.
yeah,
Like, awesome by the Rook.
yeah. Vildor was out there this game. He did a lot better, but they also had shoot, a couple other guys there didn't help there. But Emmanuel Mosley, I thought he was going to be out there this game, but last minute warm ups or whatever, something came up. The Lions didn't feel he was 100%, so he did sit out this game as well. So yeah, banged up Lions. We'll have to see the next game here, but let's jump into the offensive side. Taylor Decker was out for this game. Skippers stepped in. He did seem all right. Did a good job overall there. Hopefully, Decker is able to play this next upcoming game against the Packers because the Packers won last night as well. So they're right on the Lions' heels for taking that NFC North spot there. Gibbs, which he did have a 9.7 average per carry, so he was lighting up that defense side of the for the Bears. But I don't know if the goal line fumble there by Gibbs kind of shut him out, or if they kind of decided to not run the ball with him a lot. But I don't know if 9.7 average at the end of the game. Why aren't we running the ball with Gibbs more? So I don't know if something
I
came
don't
up with
know.
that.
There's a lot of ways. Like I'm like every time I'm like, why aren't they using Gibbs a certain way? Like they like to use Gibbs. He's been running up the middle. He's been taking some screens, but there's been times it's like, why aren't there more pitches? Why isn't there more maybe some like wide receiver type screens you're throwing to Gibbs? Like give it to him right away. Have your blockers ready to go and just let him try to make a play because they've done that with Jamison Williams, who, man, if he just doesn't get shoestring tackled a couple of times, he's gone. Or at least he picks up 10, 15 yards. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the Bears' defense is a little better than we kind of suspect. I'm not saying I thought they were bad, but they got some playmakers on that defense, and they definitely buttoned up in the second half for sure. So you might have to give them a little bit of credit, as much as we hate to
Yeah.
admit that.
Yeah, they're ranked number 6 in according to PFF, so they were right up there, especially on their end or red zone defense. They're right up there as well. So yeah, tough defense they placed or faced this game here. Fourth quarter, it seemed like the offense couldn't get anything going. They did have like a 3rd and 22. They threw it to amon-ra, picked up a bunch of yards there, but Bates had a 45-yard attempt. He did miss this one. He was two of two before then. Kind of sucks for them. The Lions there ended up having the ball going back to the Bears, but DJ Moore scoring a touchdown. So kind of one of those things. I don't know. Fourth quarter seemed like they couldn't get a rhythm going or anything there.
Yeah,
Um, Defensive side, first half, defensive played really well. No touchdowns allowed. Um, for the Bears, they allowed 7 of 15 third down efficiency. Uh, Lions caused 4 punts and 5 sacks to Williams. And it looked like the front four caused a lot of havoc for Williams. A lot of pressures there. Kind of see him scooting around the pocket, running back and forth, trying to make plays. And so, yeah, on the front four seemed pretty good, but they did have a couple people get hurt. We saw Pascal get hurt a little bit. Levi Onwuzurike as well. He got hurt. It does sound like those two might miss a couple of games coming up here. Hopefully not. I don't want to see them miss more than 1 or 2 games because we really need those guys back out there because their front front four um, depth is kind of getting hurt here.
yeah. I don't know. You said you watched the game at your Thanksgiving you went to on your side of the family, but you said that you didn't have the sound, which is ridiculous. Your family needs to get their crap together. I mean, you can show them this video. You tell your side of the family, hey, put the game on, get the sound on. That's barbaric to watch with no sound. Otherwise, you're gonna have to start making an executive decision, Kyle, and just start coming to a real Thanksgiving where you get to watch the Lions game on a big 70-inch TV like I do.
They did
With the
say I could
sound
sit
on.
closer, but they did have the
Sound
sound on. They
on.
couldn't turn it up though.
Oh, couldn't or wouldn't. There's a difference. So
We tried, but I don't know what's going on there.
yeah, okay, I doubt
So,
that. You guys got to make sure you got a working TV where the volume goes up to 100. Okay, next year you guys decide to do something. But anyway, uh, a lot of the times when these defenders were getting hurt, it did feel like the Lions would have a great play. They'd fluster Caleb Williams a little bit, and then somebody would get hurt. And I feel like that time that they were waiting for the injured player to get off the field, because it happened to Zadarius Smith a couple times, even on the same drive. He would be hurt, got walked off the field, and then that amount of time, I wonder if that like helped Caleb reset. Then he'd go out, he'd make a play, he'd have a couple good plays, then the defense would finally get him. He'd be rattled for a second, but then somebody would get hurt and he'd be able to settle down. It was a double-edged sword. Like they were getting pressure and stuff on him. They just didn't get home as much as they could have. I felt like Zadarius Smith had him in his clutches a couple of times, and he escaped it. But then they got him a few times. I mean, they're still the most sacked team in the league, I believe. So I don't know. That's what to me kind of kept the injuries did not help. It kind of kept the Bears in the game a little bit. I think they're kind of unintentional timeouts, if you will, for the Bears. So we were gifting them timeouts quite a bit in that second half, despite them leaving one on the board at the end of the game, which I'm sure we'll dive into a little bit more in a bit. But because I want to talk about that ending with you. But it just, I don't know. It stinks having all these injuries. I saw the Lions picked up a guy from the Broncos practice squad today, a linebacker, because, I mean, Malcolm Rodriguez out for the rest of the season. I know you got that further on down the rundown. It's they're getting banged up, and this is what we were kind of fearing as Lions fans, and especially with a pretty red hot Packers team about to come into Ford Field in a week.
Yeah. Yeah, so Kendall Vildor, I talked about him. I think he only allowed 2 catches for 15 yards or something like
He
that.
played a lot better, a lot better.
Yeah, but that stupid pass interference call at the end of the game did not help. It shouldn't have been called. A
It
lot
was
of
weak.
people they broke it down saying like even if it um wasn't called or something like that, DJ Moore couldn't have made a play on it because it was thrown like 3 feet or 4 feet yards away from him. So um, I don't know if the referees kind of helped the Bears out there, but that was a dumb penalty on their part.
Hey, there's a lot in this game. I think the horse collar tackle that happened at one point in the game that went against the Bears might not have been a horse collar tackle. Look, the game happening in real time with these refs, we talk about it quite often. They're only human, and they make a call
Well,
right there.
they
Until
came
they go
together.
to replay assist, or they have a referee in the booth who could quickly assess it and be like, no, that should not be a penalty, and move on. This is going to be a problem that we're always going to talk about, because there was stuff, like I said, on both sides. There was stuff that the Bears got called on that I was like, I mean, I'll take it, but I don't like it. And same stuff where the Lions got called on stuff, and we don't like it, obviously, but it's a lot of ticky tacky, like just let them play, because I felt like both guys kind of had their hands on each other, especially that play you're talking about.
Yeah. The only thing that drove me nuts too, like they did come together and discuss it, but man, I think that was a fourth down too, where they could have gotten off the field. Lions get the ball back. So
It was either
yeah,
fourth or third down. Yeah, it was close.
yeah. So we already talked about Carlston Davis being out, Terrion Arnold back. So we'll jump into some notes of the game. I don't know about you guys, but for me, Brian Branch had a couple of quiet games these last couple of games. Um, I think with Alex Anzalone being out, I don't know if the defense kind of stuck to like a cover two, to where they had Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch out in the back as safeties and not letting Brian Branch kind of roam around being like a free safety, kind of making plays as he will. Um, so yeah, that's kind of why we're not seeing Brian Branch out there making those plays like he usually is. So
I think it's a mix of that, and with a lot of the corner depth, they can't allow, they don't have the faith to go full man to man maybe all the time. So he's definitely like, they aren't letting things get over the top. So they're down a good starting corner, so he's more watching back there instead of being able to pursue the ball kind of more like he probably would typically. Now he's kind of having to sit back more. It's my thought process on that. I'm not sitting here breaking down film or anything, but it just feels like that's what's kind of kept him out of a lot of plays.
yeah, but yeah, the Lions did have 5 sacks total, which is great. DJ Reader coming up big for this game. He had 2. Zadarius Smith had 1.5. Mohammed had 1, and Ezekiel Turner had half a sack. So helped the Lions defense. But we did have a unfortunate injury. Sounds like he's going to be out the rest of the year, probably on the pup list when the season starts. And we're talking about Malcolm Rodriguez. He came up with, sounds like a ACL injury, so he is out. So that kind of is bad news for the Lions linebacker um, crew there, who is already decimated with injuries. But it sounds like they did sign a veteran um, linebacker from the uh,
The
Broncos practice
Broncos
squad.
practice squad. I
Yep.
already brought that up. You don't listen to me, Kyle. Are
Oh,
you
you
still
did?
hung over from your Thanksgiving where you're not paying attention to me?
Well, I got my cat here on the desk who's like, won't leave me alone.
Oh, well, pay
So,
attention more. But
yeah.
no, yeah. So that stinks. I mean, but hopefully, in a few weeks we'll get a couple of guys back. Anzalone, hopefully. I don't know what's Barnes. Is Barnes out for the year, or is he coming back soon?
They, I think he's going to be done for the year. I know he's trying to get healthy quick, but I don't think he's coming back this year.
All right. Do you want to talk about the end of that game? I mean, that's kind of been the big topic. I want to kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
hear how you were watching the game. So obviously, Dad came over to the house, watched it over here, and we were on the edge of our seat that most of that second half. It was so frustrating to watch, and then that last drive was just unbelievable. The Bears were moving it. Then you talked about the penalty, but at 33 seconds, Eberflus and the Bears not calling a timeout. What what in the world? Were you as dumbfounded as I was? I'm sitting there just like, are they not calling a timeout? Like I'm looking around like, am I the only one? Dad and I are both like, what are they doing? And the clock just kept ticking down, and then 6 seconds left, they finally snapped the ball, and it's just like, well, last play of the game, I guess. Like they just looked so, I don't know what was going on. It was just pure chaos.
Yeah, they especially they got the sack before that play, and then like 30 something seconds left. Like I was on the edge of my seat there, like going, "Oh God, the Lions are gonna lose this. They're gonna they got two plays. They're gonna throw it because they've been successful in that second half, throwing it to open players. Like I don't want to see a DJ Moore going downfield, breaking loose, and that's the game. But yeah, I don't know. Like Caleb Williams taking all the time in the world, and you got Eberflus on the sideline. You could see him yelling at Caleb Williams, like, "You're the coach. Call the timeout." Like, idiot. I don't know. He's fired because of it. That
Yeah,
had to be the last straw there.
had to have been.
So
I don't, but it's still weird that we'll talk about his firing in a second. But it's just the whole sequence of events. Neither the quarterback nor the coach in that situation making a timeout call. Even when it got down to 20 seconds, I was like, okay, at this point you got to be like, we're taking too much time. Let's think it over, because all they had to do was timeout, and it was second down, right? Or was that the third down play?
that was a third down. So
So they would have gone for it. Even if you would have gotten a little dump off pass to get in better field goal range, you get down there, you spike it probably with, I don't know, a few seconds left. You get your field goal kicking unit out there for one last try. I'm sure the Lions would have timed out and iced you and tried to do something, but they probably could have taken it to overtime at the least. And they just didn't give themselves the opportunity. Just mind blowing. I've never seen so. It's almost as bad as the coaching job they had against us last year. Remember when the Lions came back against the Bears, and the
yeah,
Bears just situationally just Eberflus the ball, for lack of a better term. Like they managed the clock terribly and ended up giving the Lions the ball back, and the Lions made them pay. Like they had that game too in Ford Field, and they Eberflus it away. But then I guess today, last night Eberflus doubled down, or not doubled down. He said that he was okay with how everything went down. That it was exactly the way they would have done it. He wouldn't change a thing, and he doubled down on that at a press conference this morning. Because we're recording on Friday, he had a press conference this morning at like 10 o'clock. Said the same thing, doubled down on his choice, and then got fired a couple hours later. Like, why was he even trotted out to have a press conference that morning? Like, he should have been fired on the bus ride back to Chicago. He should have. I had a Bears fan text me that said the Bears better tell him to find a different way home. And it's just, I can't believe it. Like, I felt bad. He was the first person that texted me too when the Bears lost that game. Like, man, like, what sucks though for everybody in the NFC North is now Eberflus is gone. Now this crap probably won't happen again.
yeah, I think it will. Yeah, I don't know. The Bears seem like the Lions of old. So
Yeah, it's
everything that
man,
could go wrong is going wrong for the Bears. So
they have found new ways to lose this whole season. It's been nuts. Six
yeah,
straight losses now for the Bears.
yeah. We'll see how that ends up. The Lions do play the Bears again away at their place, so um, that's going to be a tough matchup and the elements for the Lions there.
Yeah, oh, that will be. All these division games, you got to throw records and everything out the window. Crazy stuff
Yeah,
always happens.
yeah. Divisional opponents, you play tough against them. Even like we're talking Steelers and the Browns, how that ended up. Like the Browns won that game, so and their record sucks. So
Right. And
anything
look
can
at the Bears.
happen against the division opponents here.
Yeah, and like we've already mentioned, the Bears' last three games against division opponents have all been decided in the last couple minutes of a game. Like last play for a couple of them, like it's pretty wild. And obviously the Lions Vikings game was a close one. The Lions Packers game, while the score looks kind of close, I mean the Lions, kind of held on to that one quite a bit. That one
Yeah.
Lions pretty much won, thanks to the elements too. But this
Yep.
like their upcoming game, which I know we're transitioning into, I'm expecting another knock 'em out, drag 'em out. It's gonna be a gritty fight.
Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, let's jump into it. Week 14 preview Lions versus Packers. Thursday night game, December 5th, home. It is at 8:15 p.m. on Fox.
Is it? It's
Um,
on Amazon.
it says Fox for me.
Is it? I thought it was the Amazon Prime game because it's a Thursday night. I
Let's
could
see.
be wrong, or you could be wrong. I don't know yet. I
TV,
just
Fox, NBC, Prime Video, NFL Plus. Well, so it's on Fox in certain areas, like probably around Detroit area.
oh well.
So yeah, probably Prime, Amazon
It's
Prime.
Prime Video. Yeah, the main broadcast is Prime. Good lord, you gave me a heart attack. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the Prime game of the week.
So yeah, it is Fox in certain areas.
And what a game to kick off the week 14 slate. Like two teams at the top of their division, duking it out. The Lions could be making a nice big leap in the division and in the NFC if they get the win. The Packers put themselves, right in the thick of things some more if they get the win. So it's a lot on the line for this game.
Yeah, especially how close that first um
Meet up.
yeah seating or whatever. If
Oh,
the Vikings do lose today and the Eagles lose, like I'm not gonna be too worried if the Lions do end up losing this game. But yeah, defensive side, it will be a tough game. We'll have to see who can play versus who is injured because defensive side they do have a lot of injuries. So yeah, keep an eye out on the injury list coming up here. They'll probably start practicing probably Sunday. They'll have like a walkthrough. Monday will be full practice. Tuesday full practice, and Wednesday probably like a walkthrough again.
and we'll get your preview up probably next Wednesday too, won't we?
Yeah, yep.
Right
So
on.
that'll be up. Um,
I think
biggest
the key
thing
to this.
stop.
Oh, go ahead.
Biggest thing also they need to stop the run, make Love pass the ball around. Hopefully the defense can get a couple interceptions because I think it was 3 or 4 times they should have had an interception versus the Bear, but they couldn't capitalize on it.
Yeah.
And then offensive side should be easier time offensives speaking versus the Green Bay. Green Bay kind of ranks in the middle of the pack for their defensive side, so um, hopefully, yeah, Lions can get in the end zone a little more this game coming up.
Yeah, I think the key to this game is going to be can that Lions offense keep the Lions defense on the feet on the sideline for as long as they can. If that defense has got to be out there for long drives, it's not gonna help because look what they did in the Bears game. The Bears had what 7 minutes of total offense or possession in the first half of that game. The Lions got to keep their offense out on the field. They got to grind it out with Montgomery and Gibbs again. But they also have to punch it in. You can't be settling for field goals against the Packers, especially. So they got to punch it in, and they got to make sure they take care of the football. The turnover, as we saw with Green Bay when we matched up, Green Bay's one turnover was essentially the big swing point and difference maker of that game. Otherwise, those two teams were fairly even that day, even though Detroit did also punch the ball in when Green Bay only got a field goal. So we'll have to wait and see. Like you said, injury report. We'll see how that defense, what guys we can get back, and how they want to scheme up against the Packers. What kind of injuries the Packers have, because I didn't catch any of the Packers game last night. I watched the highlights this morning, so we'll see. Them coming to our building a little bit later of a timetable for the Packers because they had the late game, so I'm sure their schedule's a little off too. But Detroit gets at least 6 or 8 hours head start on the Packers.
Yeah, hopefully we can see Carlton Davis back out there with Terrion Arnold, Amik Robertson, and that might allow Brian Branch to play more freely. Yeah, because I'd like to see him get back to his the way he was playing before these last couple of games here.
Yeah, and hopefully have Decker back out there at left tackle. Not that Skipper did a bad job there. I don't feel like there was a lot of issues with the left side of the line. I just feel like they were moving Panay around quite a bit. That maybe that right side of the line wasn't as firm most of the game. They were asking Panay to do a lot, including that almost throwing play that he ended up getting sacked on technically.
Yeah, so I didn't really watch that. I didn't get to see that play a lot. Where did he line up at?
I think he was in he was like at a wide receiver or like a tight end type position.
So
got the ball and then like went around and was about to try to throw it, but they kind of sniffed it out. They saw Panay moving around. And I wonder if that's one of those plays that Ben Johnson draws up. He's like, look, if it works, it works. But if it doesn't, that sets up something later on down the line where teams are like, hey, look, they move Panay around like this. This is what they're trying to do. And they do something completely the opposite with that kind of thing. That seems like the kind of game Ben Johnson likes to play. So we'll see if that amounts to anything later on down the road.
Yeah, because it looked like he kind of threw a couple of people around trying to get at least to the line of scrimmage. So
oh yeah, that great picture of him just shoving a guy. That was the most gorgeous sack I've ever seen taken in Lions history. Because he was like pushed that guy down. I'm sure you saw the memes. There was a lot of memes as soon as that happened. Yeah. So, and we didn't talk about the halftime show. So you didn't have the volume, so you probably didn't get to listen to the halftime show. But in terms of like visually, what a step up from last year's Thanksgiving where they got the igloo from the Walmart or the Amazon Prime delivery and just threw it out in the middle of Ford Field. They actually got him a nice stage, and I felt like Detroit finally got it figured out on Thanksgiving what they need to do. And they got the dub.
But they did, Eminem was in the building, so one of these years, just pay the man. Let's have a great halftime show for Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, man. He wants to watch the Lions. He doesn't want to have to perform, too. That's a lot to worry about. He just wants to go watch his Lions play.
Just have the concert up in his suite. He'll be all right.
Oh, there you go. He doesn't have to stand up. Just do the whole set from your seat.
Yep. Just give him a microphone. That's all you got to do.
There you go.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
Not really. Other than Dan Campbell's wife posted that Dan and her went out to get their coffee on Friday today with their little dog again. So I'm sure Dan Campbell will get more questions about that. So.
All right. Let's close it out because my older cat here is driving me nuts.
All right. Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed listening or watching today's episode and come back for more. Be sure to visit the World of Football's website, www.theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. If you want to get in touch with us, send us an email to info@theworldoffootball.com, or you can connect with us by either liking the World of Football on Facebook or following the World of Football's X account and Instagram. Those links will be down in the episode description. Be sure to check out our flagship podcast, This Week in the World of Football, which drops new episodes every Tuesday. So go over there, check that out. You can find that link in the podcast feed or on the YouTube channel. Again, links in the description below. And before we get out of here, Kyle, I want to wish you. Well, actually, today we're recording on my mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom! And then tomorrow is your wedding anniversary, and then your birthday is on Sunday. So big few days for you.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's like it happens every year now. And it's what, your 5th wedding anniversary. So
Yeah, number 5.
congratulations on my sister not getting sick of your shtick.
All right, that's it for us this week. A great win by the Lions here. Be on the lookout for the pre-game episode coming out probably Wednesday, and another episode probably Friday after the Lions versus Packers. Um, but yeah, that's it. And thanks for watching, liking, subscribing, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks.
Bye,
Go
everybody.
Lions.
Yep, Kyle, I hope you got my sister something nice for her anniversary, you cheap son of a gun.
Yep.
What'd you get her?
Don't worry about it.
She's not watching. You can tell me.
All right. See you guys later.
All right.